Welcome to episode 102, comrades. I'm going to start getting used to saying comrades. That's going to be our shtick of a podunk.
Shtick, that's a lifestyle.
Yeah, like, not podunk. See, I'm still getting used to it. Postmodern Polymath Podcast. Thanks once again for joining us. Lyman, how you doing?
I'm good. Just getting a drink.
Lyman is wandering
Creeping
around.
through the dark.
He's looking like, he looks like Mr. Robot.
Shut up.
Looks like. But you need to go check out that show. It's the last season. So if you haven't seen it, this is a great time to do it.
We're coming live and mobile from Ansonia, Connecticut.
Yeah, that bustling town of activity.
Bustling metropolis.
Yeah, bustling metropolis. So first of all, I wanted to say I finally got the name changed on Face Jesus. Only after the fact. First of all, only after the fact that I realized I forgot to put the podcast part at the end of it, so I was pissed off. But it took me this much. I'm like, fuck it. Finally, I had to send them examples of when I announced the change. So I gave them the link, the podcast link where I announced it. I told you this, the fucking episode page on WordPress, all kinds of shit. So finally, they fucking let me have it. Hallelujah.
So finally, they were convinced that you weren't trying to just claim your Google.com.
Yeah, because I'm a Russian troll, right?
Clearly.
Nobody watches it. What Russian troll? I'm the worst Russian troll ever, if that's the case.
Hey, if anyone in Russia wants to step up and start propagating this and somehow think it's... Yeah. Go to patreon.com.
/ the postmodern polymaths. And, I'm maybe a little bribery. I'm not going to promise anything. We're not going to promise anything.
No quid pro quo. No quid pro quo.
Which quid pro quo? What are you calling me, boy? Anyway. All right, we're letting our guests...
Got the quid without the quo.
We're letting our guests simmer a little too long. Sorry about that. All right,
he's percolating.
Yeah, he's percolating. He is the main guy, main co-host behind Brainstorm Podcast. Known this guy for quite a while. Been on the show a couple of times. He's one hell of a guy. He's stuck with me, and for that I'm greatly appreciative. If you will join me in welcoming that Canadian crazy man, Cory Johnston. How's it going, Cory?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Doing fantastic. Lyman decided to join us.
Hey, Cory.
hey, how's it going?
And as we know, Lyman is live from also a northern locale, although not as far north as Cory, who lives in Regina. That name.
Where does he live?
Regina.
Regina.
Do you know where that is?
Canada?
Yeah. Saskatchewan.
I hear it's our hat.
I have heard that as well.
That's all I know about it.
What is it you call a hat? Like a
toque?
Yeah, that's a toque.
Yeah.
A toque. That's what it was.
Yeah, the wool hat or whatever. Yeah.
I'm not hearing Cory at all.
Oh, no.
Well, then you suck.
Well, that's obvious and unrelated, but yeah.
Do you have both earbuds in?
Well,
yes.
Do you hear Cory?
Yeah. No, he's my imaginary friend. Yeah.
Listen, I thought you were an expert mouth reader. No, I hear you perfect.
Check your settings right quick.
Give me my settings. Hold on.
So Lyman's got to check his settings. Cory, like I said, Braincast. I'm having problems. Brainstorm Podcast. I want you to tell everybody a little bit about your show.
Well, we've been on a bit of a break for like the last 6 months or so. But yeah, basically just a group of critical thinkers, skeptics, and atheists.
I wonder if it's throwing it out the earbud that I don't have in my head.
Yeah, so we're just a bunch of
Negative.
skeptics and atheists. Who
The core
we go through
meister's
current
not
events.
coming through on my feed at all.
Okay.
You want
He's
want me to
talking.
drop?
Just mute. Just come back in.
All right, I'll be right back.
All right. Let's try this again.
Yeah.
All right, now go.
All right. Okay. So yeah, basically just a bunch of skeptics from Regina, Saskatchewan that cover the current events, and we try and cover things in a fun but critical way.
Okay.
That's about it.
Yeah, I've listened. I've been on there at least once. I think I was on there when I first started the show back up a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we've gone through a couple like format changes over the years. Like we've been going for almost 6 years, I guess, minus the last 6 months. But so it kind of what am I saying?
I don't know, man. What are you saying?
We've changed a bunch of different stuff about the show. And right now we're kind of in a transition period trying to get back into a routine.
Okay. Well, fair enough. So I listened to your comeback episode, and it's pretty good. It is interesting to kind of get a Canadian perspective on things, because I'm listening to y'all and I'm like, oh, you innocent, sweet, innocent Canadians. Sweet, innocent Canadian.
Yeah, things aren't quite blowing up here as bad as they are there.
Well, from what I hear and from what you're telling me, Alberta seems to be kind of a conservative.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan and Alberta, I guess, too. It's kind of a conservative area or whatever.
Yeah, Alberta and Saskatchewan in the recent election voted entirely blue, which here means conservative, which is kind of like Republican light.
Republican light. Jesus. I would take that now.
Yeah. Well, they still have to keep their their homophobic views kind of a little bit muted. They have to say that they don't really feel that way, or that everybody gets to choose what they want to do, while they covertly fight against gay marriage. And they also, same thing with like abortion rights and women's right to choose.
Okay. Lyman's back on. I'm not bringing his ass on until I think he can hear anything.
I can hear you. And
can you hear
Corey,
me now?
Right. I do. Weirdly
All right.
enough. So we're good.
Okay.
Get it together, Streamlabs.
StreamYard, not Streamlabs. It's completely different. Something.
Whatever.
It's
all the same.
Now that us three white men are together talking about important things, I'm sure everybody.
I'm sure we can fix the world, right?
Yeah. So
it's very critical.
Let's kind of jump on some of the topics I wanted to talk about tonight.
What you got, Chris?
For once, I kind of actually plan things. So, first of all, I guess the major thing would be the Canadian federal elections, which happened not too long ago.
Yeah, October 15th, I think it was.
Yeah, I'm not looking for any kind of deep insight, but I'm just kind of a general rundown of what happened, I guess.
Effectively, we have what minority government, because the Liberals won slightly less than half the seats. We have the official opposition is the Conservative Party, and then there's the NDP or the New Democratic Party. They are, I guess you could say, the third place team, but they only got somewhere between 17 and 30 seats, I think. I can't even remember the exact number. It was so small, but Green Party got 1 or 2 seats. But yeah, essentially we have a minority government, which usually lasts about 2 years until a vote of no confidence or something happens and everybody decides they need to get an election going again.
All right. So you're speaking gibberish.
Okay. I was about to say, what exactly is a vote of no confidence? Because I'm pretty sure we all have one right now.
Yeah,
I'm fairly familiar with listening to British parliamentary stuff, but can you just kind of give a brief rundown of what those terms you just used?
Well, I guess a minority government, like I say, is a government that has less than 170 less than 170 seats, because there's 338 districts or ridings in Canada on the federal level.
Riding. What's a riding?
It's a district. It's just another name for an area of approximate size where people all vote for the certain person.
Right. Okay.
It's like the metric unit of politics.
Yeah,
for
that's
us.
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just call it a different thing.
Okay.
But yeah, so we have 338 ridings. And so the Liberals, I think they won, I want to say, shit, I can't even remember, but 130 something.
What the fuck, man? We have you on for this very purpose.
Yeah, you got to have 170 seats to get a majority government.
How many seats are there total?
338.
338. Okay.
Don't hurt yourself.
And so I know I'm going to. So if you have one less than 50% of that, you are the minority.
Yes, then you have
Okay.
a minority government, which means if you want to get anything passed, you got to make deals with other parties.
So does it work like the U.S. where the majority can basically just stonewall legislation forever and do absolutely nothing?
I guess in theory it could work like that, but because we have multiple parties, there's usually some way to get something figured out. If it was just liberals and if it was just the liberals and the conservatives, then yeah, you'd have like you say, no progress at all. But because we have the new Democratic Party that has a small number of ridings, then they can make the difference.
Riding, baby.
Now, how many official parties do you guys recognize?
Boy.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but like I guess the major ones are the Liberals, the Conservatives, the New Democratic Party, the Bloc Québécois, and the Green Party.
All right. One thing.
What's that?
I heard this. You pronounce that. I thought it was Québécois, since it's got a Sadia.
No, the way I've always heard it is Québécois. So
I've heard it as Québécois as well.
Okay. I just thought because I thought I saw under the C there was a Sadia, which makes it a soft. See, I took French because I'm fancy like that.
Yeah, I'm actually learning French through Duolingo right now.
How's that going? I downloaded it actually like a month ago and kind of sat on it.
It's not bad, actually. You got to actually be on it for 5 to 15 minutes a day, but it's not bad.
I was going to do Spanish so I could order tacos.
I wish I took Spanish for a few years, and I'm about dangerous enough to get myself the bathroom, the beer, and some Wi-Fi. So
there you go.
That's really all you need.
Yeah.
All right. So
arguably.
So what are we talking about as far as the winners and the losers overall in the election?
Well, I mean, if you ask the Conservatives, then they had a victory of sorts because they won the quote unquote popular vote, even though that's not a thing here. We don't vote for a prime minister. We vote for a party representative in our riding, and then the party with the most ridings forms government. So the popular vote doesn't mean anything. But if you ask the Conservatives, they won because they have
yeah, that means nothing. We had Hillary won like what?
Right.
2 million more, and she lost. So that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So you guys don't have anything like the electoral college up there.
Not really. I guess
No, they're in the 21st century.
Well, we still use first past the post, which is a joke, right? But
Yeah, I hate
but every time you try and get it changed, whoever's in power, for some reason, doesn't want to change it.
that. Imagine that.
Go figure.
Go figure.
Okay, so but who is Trudeau still the prime minister?
Trudeau is still the prime minister. They won enough seats that they get to form government.
All right, so we got Trudeau still for now, but you say it's a minority government.
Yes.
Which means if he doesn't form a coalition, he has to. Don't they have to call for another election or something like that?
No, basically, at any point, the other parties can decide that they don't have enough confidence in the minority government to keep the country moving forward, and they can do a vote of no confidence, and then we have to have another election.
Okay, so you have to have that first. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is going to maybe be a stupid question, but how often can you have an election? Because like we obviously do it every 4 years with the presidency. Like how often is it possible to do an election there for leadership?
Sometimes it feels like there's one every year, but
What?
yeah, we will probably have one in 2 years.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Minority governments
can
almost
just get
never
rid of
last
one.
more than 2.
Well, that's fair. I mean, at least they have some semblance of, representative democracy, I guess.
Yeah. The real problem here, I think, is that like in 2 years, it's quite likely that the Conservatives will get another minority after that, because this seems to go in cycles for us. And then we're going to be in a Conservative minority government for a couple of years, and then they'll get a majority, and then we'll be stuck with a Conservative government for a decade again.
Okay. Well, poor you. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
Poor you with universal health care.
Well, I mean, there are lots of people who want to get rid of that. So I don't know.
Now, honestly, are there a lot of people up there that legitimately wish you could pay tens of thousands of dollars to get antibiotics like we do?
Well, that's not how they frame it, right? Because they think that, I'm paying for that person's healthcare, and instead they want to pay for their own healthcare, and they don't realize that when you bring in private companies, well, then the price goes up. They think, well, I could pay the prices that the government is currently paying. Well, no, you fucking can't. You're going to pay 10 times the cost.
The reason they can make those fucking deals is because they have
because of the quantity of people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dumb
exactly.
Fuckers. God damn. Can we just kill all the corporations?
So to spit that back at you, just to make sure I understand. So there are people up there that can go to the doctor of dollars or thousands of dollars, or going broke and not feeding their family, or can get an ambulance for not $3,000+, and they're like, I don't want to pay for my neighbor's me.
Yes.
Are you shitting me?
No, it's exactly as ridiculous as you think it is.
I hope some salty Canadian listens to this. I got rear-ended in a car accident, and I had to go to a pain management doctor, a neurologist, and all of that good stuff. I racked up $70,000 on my own that I could not pay. That was with insurance.
Yeah.
Stop crying.
I guess they'd rather pay $70,000 than pay for their neighbors.
Stop. Corporations will never fucking stop.
No.
Ever.
No.
Until
I can attest, right now, honestly, right this second, I should be at a doctor getting antibiotics, but I don't, because it'll cost me $130 to show up to the office. It will cost me another $60 to $100 for the antibiotics and whatever bullshit else they give me. And that it'll end up being as much, if not more, than my car payment.
Right.
To go get fucking antibiotics.
Yeah, that was the thing. This last election was there was people talking that we need a universal pharmacare because we don't have that yet.
So what exactly is that?
Drugs.
Yeah, all our drugs would be covered. That's what the NDP wanted to bring in.
Well, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, I mean,
please tell me there are not people that are like,
There
I don't want to pay for
always
somebody's
are.
insulin.
Don't.
of course there are. Yeah,
You fucking like, oh my god, like there are. I personally know people that pay over $700 a month for fucking insulin so they don't die.
That is crazy.
yeah. Like actually,
Did you
up
know
here, insulin is much cheaper.
Insulin, is it?
Yeah,
Of course.
we do have it is subsidized, but even that we want our government to pay for it. Like, of course, why should we have to pay out of our pocket?
True story. Yeah. Anyway, I won't derail us too much more. But I went to the hospital because I got stung 3 times by a bark scorpion, which is the gnarliest of scorpions in North America. And I sat in the ER and they took my blood pressure and monitored me because I had a stage 3 envenomment, which basically means it's approaching the worrying point because it's a neurotoxin, and they were concerned it was going to affect my brainstem. So if that was the way it was going to go, I had 2 choices. I could get put in a medically induced coma in the ICU, which is like $250,000 plus.
Holy shit.
Or I could get the antivenom, which is 2 vials in my arm, and they are $27,000 a piece, and that was the cheap hospital.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Okay,
just shoot my kids' college tuition up.
That's a whole. We actually need to do an episode. I got to find somebody who knows a lot about that. I've been meaning to do an episode about that anyway. Since I've been doing this show, I just never got around to it. But anyway, okay, so Trudeau's prime minister, everything's hunky-dory, not really.
Yeah.
And the blackface thing, totally cool, totally fine.
Well,
no, we're not. No,
I would say I would
wish
say not
our president
cool.
only did blackface.
Although
Jesus.
I do want to kind of segue into the next thing I was going to talk about because Trudeau did apologize now.
Yeah.
And I would have argued that he was born in privilege.
Yes.
And I want to, I want to give him a benefit of the doubt, maybe a little bit, because I don't know how steeped Canadians are in kind of the history of blackface in the U.S. You can't tell me that they don't know, though.
Well, I mean, admittedly, a lot of us didn't know for, I don't know, until relatively recently, actually. I mean, there's a lot of people who did, and they deserve the credit but somebody like Justin Trudeau, who, like you say, grew up privileged as fuck, like never had to face any kind of issues, never kind of just those kinds of issues were mostly invisible to him. And yeah, it's not really surprising, actually.
And I mean, I'm sorry, most politicians are probably, if you went in their closets, fucking skeletons falling out everywhere, probably.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. It doesn't excuse it, but I mean, it's not quite as bad as all these Southerners down here. Even Democrats, goddamn, just don't wear blackface.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
I mean, well, it's because a lot of them are like, all this shit's from the 60s and shit in the South. Come on, of course, right?
Yeah, like I didn't know that blackface was a thing until, I don't know, the last, say, 15 years.
Okay.
And
really?
But I still
have
managed to never wear blackface in my whole life. So I don't know. It seems like it's pretty easy.
They don't have black people. And in the South, it's a little, because we know, because of this history or whatever.
Yeah. No, we have a lot of gaps in our education about racial issues, and Like,
well, that's
like we spend a lot of time in our classrooms over the history of Canada, just erasing the fact that we kind of committed genocide against Indigenous people. So
no,
yeah, like it's been just
It's
one of
not
those things that we just ignore.
quite as bad. But I mean,
We have entire gaps about slavery in our
okay, that's
Yeah.
another. Okay, look, Thanksgiving is tomorrow. We could do a
Put it
whole
on the
nother
board.
show on that
Put
one.
it on the board.
Yeah, it's
Although I do have to forgot to mention tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Make sure you go and remember what actually happened after that, the dinner in the history. So
yeah.
the dinner might have been semi plausible itself, but it's not in isolation. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just remember that. Okay. And I just started a fundraiser for the Native American Partnership. If you can go get to my Facebook page, I forgot to share it to the podcast page. If you can go contribute to that, I've started doing that for the Thanksgiving thing because, well, I figure it's a good time, so we remember that Native Americans were
Yeah, that's a good
fucked up.
cause.
Anyway, okay, so
Absolutely.
like I said, we're going to kind of segue into this Don Cherry thing. Now, of course, not many people, I would venture to say very few people here in the U.S., unless they watch hockey religiously, know who Don Cherry is.
Right. Oh God. He's depending on who you ask, he's Canada's shame or he's one of our icons. He hosted Hockey Night in Canada since before I was born. Like as long as there's been TV, there's been Hockey Night in Canada, and as long as Hockey Night in Canada has been on, Don Cherry has been the host of Coach's Corner and that whole thing. He was an actual hockey coach at one time, and yeah, he sucked at that. So then he started being a big mouth on TV, and yeah, that's who Don Cherry is. Recently, he said some pretty, I don't know, ignorant and bigoted things about immigrants and Remembrance Day.
Let's put up, actually. I guess I should have. Go ahead. I'm just trying to see if I can find what he said.
Yeah, it was something about you people, you come here and you like our milk, our honey, and our way of life. The least you can do is buy a poppy and support the people who died to give you this. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty universally understood that it was racist as fuck, because how do you know the people who aren't wearing poppies are immigrants? But yeah, there's still
I feel
a lot
like
of
it
people.
deserves a solid yikes.
Yeah,
At
yeah,
least.
it's pretty rough. So he got fired, but this isn't the first racist thing he said. Like he's said a lot of bad things about Indigenous people in the past, and he's been a blatant misogynist for a very long time. And I mean, finally in 2019, he faces a little bit of consequences, and now we have people, and then 2 days or 3 days after that, people are saying they're like protesting in the streets about Don Cherry getting fired.
So what you're
I don't know
saying
if
is
that
people actually inflict and impose consequences on people over there for being racist?
On occasion. Yeah, it does
Okay.
occasionally happen.
Well, from what I heard, he's been doing fucked up shit for a while,
Oh yeah.
and
He's
so
a shithead. Like he really is just a bad, like, I don't understand why people like him, honestly.
well, I mean, it's this whole thing, I guess, of like telling it like it is, right?
Yeah.
These are the same people who elected Trump, right?
Yeah, that's right.
These non-politically correct, just say it like it is, which almost always involves fucking insulting minorities or marginalized groups. That's generally what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
or punching down. It's never it's never like anything where you're punching up. It's always punching down, right? And so when I hear a white person say that, that's code to me for, you mean you can't say various racial slurs
Yeah.
or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, they're worried about. Yeah, they want to say negative things about racialized people, and that's where it comes from, I guess.
Yeah,
Which is code for white people.
Yeah, basically code for white people. Now we're going to use this. You know what? We're going to use fanciness because I'm feeling fancy. Are y'all feeling fancy?
Sure.
Born that way, sir.
Let's see if it'll let me do it. Hold on. So I'm going to try to play this video on here.
Whoa, technology.
Look at that.
Yeah, we're on there. Okay. Now let me go ahead and play it.
Go ahead and expand that bad boy.
Yeah, I can't even hear it, but that's all right.
Yeah, I don't hear it either.
You don't hear it?
I'm sure I could. No, I'm sure I could translate though. Racist. Excuse, racist. Deflection. Racist.
Yeah.
Okay.
To everyone listening, you are getting to experience.
Well, I don't even know if anybody got to fucking hear that, but
of the triple po.
I don't even know if I even heard that. Since somebody's listening, I don't know. But anyway, y'all didn't hear it, but that's not important because fuck y'all.
You know what? We'll put it in the show notes.
There you go. Yeah, people can listen to it on their own.
So I'll have to play with that a little more, figure out how that works. Nope, nobody heard it. Well, that's fucking bullshit. So I gotta figure out what oh, that's annoying. I fucking sure as fuck heard it. So that's all that matters. Anyway, so he said you people love our way of life, love our milk and honey. At least you could buy a couple of bucks for poppies or something like that. These guys paid for your way or life that you enjoy in Canada. And this Ron McLean guy nodded and gave a thumbs up.
Yeah. And Ron McLean also, he still has his job, and he did apologize and say that what Don Cherry said was wrong and racist. And so, I mean, there's people who are still not happy with Ron McLean, his apology, and that's fair. I think it was kind of half-hearted and not really as much as I would like, but at least he did something. Don Cherry instead doubled down and said that he thinks that the silent majority agree with him, and that the not so silent minority
first of all, what
really blatant
decade does this fucker think it is? This ain't fucking Nixon in the 60s and shit. That's exactly the term he used, right? Basically the racist white people.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so Don Cherry's a prick. He dresses like I don't know, fucking a crazy.
I don't know. I guess.
Did you like him?
To each their own.
Give a fuck? Did you give a fuck about him?
No. I stopped really watching hockey when I was still in my teens.
Wait, what?
So
what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Canadian.
I'm pretty sure you're not even a Canadian.
Yeah. Don't you get expelled from Canada if you don't watch hockey or something?
Yeah, no, there's actually a surprising number of us that don't care about hockey.
You watch that bullshit Canadian football, which is another segue. You like how I did that? We're segueing into Canadian football. Now, the only reason this came up is because I saw something you shared.
Yeah.
And for anybody do you know anything about Canadian, like just the basic shit? It's like 110 yards, and it's wider.
Yeah, we only have one less down per play or per series. It's wider, longer field. It's a harder game, but we pay our players less.
Oh, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah. But yeah,
That sounds almost American.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Well, there are some NFL people have gone up there to rehabilitate when they can't hack it.
Yeah, I don't know what was his name.
Doug Flutie came up there, didn't he?
There was the player who got busted with the dog fighting.
Michael Vick.
Yeah, he came up here to
Mike-
play when he couldn't play
yeah.
down there. I think it was only a
Michael
season
Vick
or
came
two.
and played
but-
up there.
Yeah,
It's funny how nobody knows that. Because nobody fucking
I'd never
cares.
heard anything about that. All I heard is he was in trouble, yada yada yada.
He went
It
to
Yeah.
prison.
passed, and then they were like, "Just kidding, bro. You can come play. It's cool."
yeah. Like when he
And,
wasn't allowed to play it down there, he spent a season up here. I think it was a season or
Is
two
he
up
still
here.
in? Is Michael Vick even still in the NFL anymore?
I haven't heard the name spoken in a long time. So
But he was allowed back in, right?
yeah, yeah.
Unlike a certain somebody else who they won't even fucking think about letting back
Yeah,
in.
that's right. Dog fighting's fine.
But kneeling
Standing up
and-
against racism
Yeah.
and abuse of power is
God, that man, you know, you can say what you want about anything, about his views or anything. He talks the talk.
yeah.
He contributes money. He gives his time to underprivileged communities. So I mean, I got all the respect in the world for him.
Yeah, he's an admirable person.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a sidebar. But so this
That's
particular,
a whole nother episode itself.
Yeah.
I know we could just keep hitting on episodes. Fuck.
I know.
So first of
We
all,
got
I
shit
wanted
to
to. There's
do.
a couple of teams I do know without even looking. I know you're very impressed by this. One of the more problematic ones is the Edmonton Eskimos.
Yes.
I that's almost like the Washington Redskins. Not
That's
quite
similar.
as bad. Not quite as bad.
Probably shouldn't name your teams after a group of people, whatever their identity might be.
That's true. Who else? The BC Lions.
Yep.
That's another one.
Yeah.
The one I saw in the story is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Which that's too much of a fucking mouthful or whatever, right? For me.
Yeah.
Toronto Argonauts. Is it Toronto
Yeah.
Argonauts?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
And the
so
Saskatchewan Roughriders.
I see. I don't know most of them actually.
And then there's the Ottawa Red and Blacks.
Okay, I don't. That's not a real name. That's not.
They
a real
used to
thing.
be-
You cut out there
They used
for
to be the-
you cut out there for a second. Did you say Toronto Rough Riders?
No, the Ottawa Red and Blacks.
No, that was Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
Roughriders,
Saskatchewan Roughriders.
which sounds like
Oh.
a porn, but anyway.
Well, Ottawa also used to have a team called the Rough Riders, but then that team went under. So then they didn't have a
Oh,
team for a
okay.
couple of years, and they came back as the Red and Blacks.
All right, so the whole point of me bringing this up is because the story,
Yeah,
the story you mentioned about. Go ahead and tell. Is that the Grey Cup, which is like their Super Bowl or whatever?
yeah. It's the championship game, and they had the premier of Alberta was on the field wearing an I Heart Oil and Gas T-shirt, and apparently he got booed, which is great because he's a corrupt piece of garbage, I guess. Like he's Alberta's Trump in a lot of ways. Like he's firing the guy who's investigating the corruption in his campaign, stuff like that. He consistently gives tax cuts to giant companies and oil corporations that then leave the province and leave Canada, and he's cutting all kinds of programs and stuff from his citizens. So,
Okay, well, maybe we should kind of establish the kind of zeitgeist and the kind of the economy that we have up in Alberta and Saskatchewan. Kind of,
yeah,
their
very
attachments,
oil based.
oil and
Yeah.
such, and also cattle, if I'm not mistaken. Some of that, or is that?
There's various farming incomes and various
but lots
farming
of
types.
oil. Don't you work in an oil field? Or
I do. I work in the oil field. It's
Do you really?
It's something. Yeah, it's something that isn't. It's not great by any stretch, but it pays really well.
Yeah, you're sleeping with the enemy. That's fine, Corey.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to make a living, right? We're all capitalists, subservient to capitalism.
I know. So yeah, how does that play into it? Or how important is oil and gas in that particular area?
Well, I mean, to be fair, there is like a bit of a problem in the oil industry right now, where the price of oil in Canada is lower than it would be nice to have it at, and it's costing people jobs. People are suffering because of it, and it creates a level of animosity and ignorance that, I don't know. In Alberta seems to reach like pretty massive peaks, where they say things like, well, they consider Justin Trudeau a traitor to the country because he tried to implement a carbon tax. And even though he's consistently given money to the oil industry, they think like they really hate Justin Trudeau and think that he's sabotaging them.
Yeah, that sounds like he's just not sufficiently. I
Yeah.
guess unless you're just, deep throating them or whatever, then they're not happy.
Well, and he actually is. Like, he gave them like $3.3 billion last year.
I
And like,
see that video.
and he's like, he bought a pipeline. And
it might be a blackface. Don't ask.
Oh.
Yeah. Like he's really in bed with the oil industry, but it doesn't match the propaganda from the conservative side. So.
Okay, well, that's fair. So well, let's take it a little local for you. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so is he generally considered climate change friendly, or in the middle, or not so much?
You mean Justin Trudeau? Or
yes.
I mean, he believes in it. So that's good.
Good job.
That's some win.
That's the bar we're at.
Yeah, I know. Just
you have to
laugh or you.
Yeah. But like say, he bought a pipeline. He placates the oil industry. He implemented a carbon tax so that we could maybe curb our emissions a little bit, but we're never going to reach our guidelines that we set for 2020, 2021, whatever it was.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Is it generally accepted up there that climate change is a thing in your politics?
Not really.
So it's really not a lot different than us.
No, climate change denial, it bounces around, right? Like it's for a long time it didn't exist. Then it was a natural thing. Then it wasn't, like it was caused by other countries, and like it's anything to avoid any responsibility for what's happening to our planet.
Excellent. Of course. So you're right on par with us.
Yeah.
That's Chinese conspiracy. Got it.
Yeah, essentially.
They're the ones that are going to be owning the world anyway, so that's fun. They're the one producing the solar panels.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a whole other thing. So I did think that was interesting. The whole oil and gas.
It's interesting that Jason Kenney actually got booed because he's such a favorite among prairie provinces. Like,
okay, what's prairie province?
Well, like Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba.
Manitoba. Okay.
Yeah, that's where the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are from.
Yeah, I know about Manitoba a little bit.
Yeah, because he's so pro oil and gas, he's very popular here and very popular in Alberta. But he got booed because these cuts, these things he's doing to his province are actually affecting people that normally would have supported him. And so it's actually a thing that he has to face. He might actually be dealing with that come election time.
Okay. But those are provincial elections.
Yes,
right?
that's right.
Right. And I guess that occurs at a different
Yeah,
time.
like I think our like Saskatchewan's provincial election is the end of 2020.
Okay.
So
Is it every 2 years or every 4 years?
4 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I believe we can have provincial issues that are similar to the federal issue, where if you have a minority government, then you can end up with a non-confidence situation.
Right.
But
okay. Well, Corey, what about you personally? Okay, so I know you're don't have any concern at all with politics since you're sharing cat memes.
Yeah, that's right.
And gifts more frequently now, which I'm very happy about. I'm glad you've decided to get on board cat gift, and meme the train or whatever. As far as your general view on what's going on in Canada right now, what is Corey's state of Canada?
I don't know. I always think that people should agree with my take on things, and I think that obviously we should stick with universal healthcare and universal pharmacare and things like that. We should be funding education, but I don't know what's going to happen. Like in 2 years, we're going to have another election, and it's going to suck, I think.
It blows my mind that there are people that are like, I don't want to be covered by universal health care. I want to get pillaged and plundered like the Americans.
Don't, like he said, they don't frame it that way. It's individual liberty. That's all it ever is. Like, I got to pay for somebody else. I mean,
a couple years ago, my dad went through cancer treatment, and it was all free. He even got covered for his travel because he wasn't working the days. Like, and
what
is this universe you speak of?
Yeah, and
like,
but he's also a person who. Yeah, this is a real thing that happens. Like, you can have some of your travel expenses are tax deductible because it's for medical issues.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a true story. Like here in America, there, and this is one of many times I've heard this. Like somebody's getting cancer treatment or some sort of long-term treatment where they're super, super ultra sick, and they have to choose between leaving their job or going on medical leave unpaid.
Yeah.
Because they don't have any kind of disability. And so they actually rely on their coworkers to donate their sick and vacation time.
Yeah.
To not go fucking bankrupt to get treatment.
Yeah.
It's fucking madness.
Yeah, it's crazy. So what about your dad?
Well, and he's one of these people who thinks that he would have got better care if he could have paid for it out of his own pocket.
Well, don't you have the option though? I mean, if you
depends where you are. In Saskatchewan, we haven't set that up yet. Like, we don't have a 2-tier system really, because the previous governments realized that if you have a 2-tier system, you may as well only have a 1-tier system, because everybody who can pay for it is going to get the better care. And the people who can't pay for it are going to get stuck with the doctors who don't want to do the job. And like 2-tier systems, they don't really work in a lot of ways.
I thought France has something going on like that. Like they have a kind of public-private thing going on.
France has a really interesting. I have a personal experience with their healthcare system because I went there for, I think it was 10 or 11 days.
Ooh la la, c'est bon.
Okay, go ahead. Oui,
no, I said literal.
I had no idea. I knew that they had.
I said actual French words.
I had no idea that they. I had no idea that, like, I knew that they had national health care and all that, socialized health care. And I have a bad knee because, long story short, I heard it lots of times. And so it acts up. And so I had hiked probably like 20 miles. And my knee swelled up, and I was like, okay, I'm fucked, like whatever. And so I was on crutches, like hobbling around. I go back to the States, and I ended up paying like $12,000 to get it scanned and physical therapy. But I found out that even as a tourist, I could have just gone to their fucking hospital
You're
that I
an idiot.
hobbled by like 300 times.
You should have.
And it would have been...
Why would you not even just try? I mean,
Yeah. No.
Just
because you're used to.
Well, dude, okay.
Because you're used to not having
explain my
coverage.
logic. So here's my logic. At the time I was there, it was $1.50 for €1, and I'm like, fuck that. I can't pay American prices. How am I going to pay for this shit? I'm not a citizen.
Right.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then I go back to America, and literally my doctor was like, dude, you should have just went to the hospital over there. I was like, why would I do that? It's so like $1.50 on the fucking euro. He's like, it would have been free. I'm like,
what year was this? Did they not have the internet, Lyman? Could you have not looked? Lyman,
it was pre smartphone.
All right. Well, I'll allow it. Maybe
That's fair.
I'll allow it. But I do think you should.
Otherwise,
try it
I would have been all over it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
what
for
are
sure.
they gonna? Well, you know. Well, I guess if you don't speak the language.
You know what?
Well,
You know what? You're right. I should have went there and just racked up and been like, you know what? I'm gonna rack up a bill. What are they gonna do?
What are they gonna do?
Collect me in another country?
Yeah, they're not coming to the U.S. to get it.
They're not gonna fucking keep you. What are they gonna do?
They'll
Send
send
me the
you
bill.
a bill. Yeah.
Shit.
What is Obama gonna extradite me? Thanks, Obama.
Actually,
Yeah.
I'm not too fond of Obama. That's actually something we could talk about since you brought it up. I did want to, because I was listening to our favorite show, The Intercept, Lyman, and they did an interview with did you listen to this? The interview with the guy, I can't remember, this black guy who actually filed suit for discrimination in the CIA, and they thought he was the guy who leaked to James Risen for his article.
Jeffrey Sterling.
Yes,
That's his
right,
name.
Jeffrey Sterling.
Where was this? I don't. This doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, because you're a loser and you're behind. I beat you. It was on Intercept.
Yes,
It was an Intercept interview, and it just came out today. So I'm gonna need you to get on top
like
of that.
today's.
Yeah.
Was it today or
Yeah, it was this. I downloaded it
or
this
is that
morning.
tomorrow?
It's not an actual episode. It's just it's like a bonus thing. It's just an interview with this Jeffrey Sterling guy, or whatever. But he's
No, I
talking
didn't
about.
see that. I've been up since 3 a.m. driving.
I don't want to hear excuses. You need
You
to
know
get your
what? I
fucking
need
priorities
pity
straight.
and
Do
sympathy.
some math and get on the game, baby. Okay. Get on your game. That's all I'm gonna say. So no, seriously, like they were trying to pin it on him. They had no evidence, no proof, or anything. They just tried to pin it. He was the whistleblower. They're saying he leaked the information about Operation Merlin, which I'd never even fucking heard of. Apparently, it was trying to give Iran faulty plans for a nuclear weapon, I guess. Except the only problem was the guy who they get, because they weren't supposed to catch it when they were doing it, right? Well, the Russian, he's like, oh, I saw it right off. And if I can see it, that means they can fucking see it, right? So he tried to tell his handlers, and they didn't fucking care, or whatever. So he tried to go to the House Intelligence Committee and all this shit. And, he got fired from the CIA for retaliation, basically. And then they tried to charge him 5 years later under Obama, because Obama he was all about trying to fucking get those whistleblowers, apparently. He brought up a case from years ago for this guy, just to put him in prison for this shit. So, I mean, and the whole Obama has gone off the rails.
Well, yeah, his recent, what do they call it, woke scolding?
Well, that was not today. Today he's saying that well, if Bernie looks like Bernie might win the nomination, he'll step in there to prevent it.
Oh, for fuck's sakes! Why does everybody hate Bernie?
I saw that. I thought it was maybe a troll article or something. I was like, surely, like, why?
I think he's
Fucking
a centrist,
why?
Doesn't make any sense.
neoliberal fuckstick. And anybody who thought he wasn't in
And
the
you
first
know what?
place,
He's just fucking salty that we're not gonna, that Bernie wouldn't go and continue to bomb villages and little abodes in the middle of Yemen. And
no, he's
like, just watch Dirty Wars if you haven't. Fuck that guy. Like,
okay.
honestly, like, he did some good stuff, but seriously, fuck that guy.
I don't know anymore because he's gone. He's shown his true colors. I mean, the Intercept did an article about it. Was it Intercept? No, it was a Jacobin. My leftist.
Oh yeah,
the super leftist rag or whatever.
your lefty bias is showing.
That's right. But I mean, it's true. Everybody was. I didn't buy. I mean, in the beginning, we were like, oh, he's going to be the great. Progressive. He's gonna. No.
Yeah,
And
it's
you
like
tried it.
anybody, right?
He's gonna save us all.
I think that was us. I think that was people. I think that we all fell for that. I don't. If you looked at his record in the Senate, I don't think
I think the last few years, a lot of people have really woken up to the flaws in this whole capitalist project that's going on everywhere. Like, that's why you see, even like all over the world, you see protests and stuff. Like, it's becoming.
Yeah,
I don't
you
know.
see it everywhere except for here.
Right? Yeah.
I know.
But even in that's where Bernie's populism comes from, is from people waking up to this kind of, like, the centrism is actually a problem. And I just feel like there is, maybe we don't have enough numbers right now, but we do have a lot of people seeing it.
That's like white supremacists. Shit. That's a whole nother fucking thing right there.
I was reading an article about, like, the Overton window situation, which is basically the liberals, quote unquote, right now, or what we call centrists, are actually historically around where moderate conservatives would be.
Right.
The Bernie, the extreme left, doom and gloom, hellfire and brimstone, are actually like the moderate, like middle, like a little bit left of center, or like a little more than left of center.
Yeah, he's not an anarchist. Like,
everyone's just like, oh my God, Bernie. Oh, he's radical. Oh, it's so radical.
Go look at fucking Eisenhower, for fuck's sake.
And everybody I know that lives in, like, the UK and stuff is like, dude, Bernie's not even far left. He's like our normal, like, left of center. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, we had fucking 90% taxes on the top, Right. Well, how do you think the middle class in the 50s fucking got built in the first place? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the high tax rate, college was free or inexpensive as fuck.
No, man, they pulled themselves up by their bootstraps and they tried really hard.
You cannot tell them that. You can show them every stat in the world, and then now we've got the phrase for it. Okay, motherfucking boomer.
Yeah, no shit. Like, Bernie and Warren and all these people would not have made like Roosevelt or Eisenhower, any of those people, like, in those like 2 decades, would not have even made them blush. They'd be like, all right, cool.
So we'll tax the wealthy, and we'll have strong social programs. That's it.
Well,
totally reasonable. Yeah.
Introducing the go ahead.
I will plug this because it's worth listening to. I listened to the most recent opening arguments where they take Elizabeth Warren's wealth tax and Andrew breaks it down, like, actually how it works. But then he does a deep dive on the history of taxes in the United States.
Right.
TLDR, it's technically constitutional, assuming the Supreme Court we have right now doesn't hamstring it. And it's it makes perfect fucking sense. But you should listen to it for yourself and decide, because it's a really, really, really good deep dive on taxes. You should definitely check it out.
Well, it's bullshit. I mean, the whole thing. Of course, the difference is the kind of social issues as far as you know, people of color and women, and I think that kind of adds another dimension to it, because certainly even in the 50s or whatever, even if it was good for middle class white people, maybe WASPs, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, it sure as shit wasn't good for
Protestants,
black people, or anybody else that weren't non-white people, basically, right? So we need to make it equitable across the table, and I think adding that extra layer, and then of course LGBT issues, of course that's another thing, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's just all this intersection of these different things of kind of, we know where we need to be, but there are so many fucking forces on the other side. They see the end, they see where it's going, and they're scared shitless, right? To me, I mean, like these white supremacists, they're fucking terrified. I mean, I'm a sucker for bad things, right? So I'll watch bad Christian movies. I listen to fucking white supremacist radio, Christian radio, just to see where they're going. These people are terrified. They want white people having babies. They talk about having babies all the time. That's all they talk about, is having babies. I'm telling you, man. They're terrified. Left. They think the Marxists are taking over.
Oh, if only, hey?
Yeah, I mean,
God, I hope so.
Let's do it. Yeah,
it's just amazing to me how they think they're being so persecuted. It's just hilarious to me.
Hail Karl Marx and have babies.
That's right.
It hurts my mind to try. I actually actively try not to think about it. But fuck you very much. Thank you for making me think about it.
You're welcome.
It's astounding to me how out of all the problems, like, I'm not even talking about globally, I'm talking about that these people could face at any given time in their own little bubble. And I'm not talking about the rich, like, mega church people. I'm talking about any random person, that their top priority is like, white people aren't having babies. Oh,
right. Like
melanin. Like, what?
How does that even get on your radar as a thing that matters?
They're threatened.
Exactly. What kind of life are you living where your top fucking priority is white people having babies?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to know how you got there so I can do that, but then not worry about white people having babies.
Psychology.
That's the first world that I want to have in my world.
So let's kind of, since we're kind of heading into the home stretch here, I did want Corey to kind of tell us what the direction of the show. Do we have since we started it back up, do you have a certain thing in mind, or is it just back to the old? Are you doing skits? Are you doing skits?
Well, we're certainly not doing skits yet. Anyway, yeah, that takes some creativity and some time. But yeah,
we might do a skit.
The show. I mean, for now, we're just doing what we always did. Even the original show was just covering news and current events and trying to do critical thinking exercises with it. And yeah, we'll see how things go over time.
So who do you have on there? It's you and a couple other people?
Yeah, it's going to be, I think in general, it'll be me, Lisa, and Renee. But Angela will come when she gets a chance. And then Destin will come when he gets a chance.
Angela I had on, I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a while ago now.
Everything. Time flies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you need to... I'm happy that you're back on. I'm telling you, man, I'm not saying you got to do it. I'm saying it would not go amiss if it would be a whole thing, a running thing, right? Like this crazy, and you could like play up the whole. You could be one of those oil field, those fucking conservative oil field worker types that you always talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could get in the mindset.
Oh, you know you could.
but oh man,
you know you could.
I don't like it.
No, but it's a joke. It's satire.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole
Just say some ignorant, bigoted shit and call it satire.
Eh? Isn't there a show? Was it Trailer Park Boys in that Canada, whatever it is?
Is that Canadian?
Yeah, it's Canadian. It's based in Canada.
Yeah.
So you didn't even know, did you? I blew your mind with that, didn't I? And he's still sitting there trying to figure. Are you high? You look high.
Me?
Okay,
No, I'm tired. I've been up for like
whatever, dude. Give me a dad
17
joke.
hours.
Yeah, I actually got off my night shift this morning and I slept for 2 hours this afternoon.
Oh.
So I'm ahead. I'm awesome.
I need since
you want a dad joke.
Give me a dad joke.
Let me think. Hold on. Pull it out of the ether of Ansonia, Connecticut. Shut up.
Ansonia. That's the whitest name I've ever heard.
Ansonia. It's like a town of I think 4,000 people. Let's see.
God, he is really dragging this out.
What? Shut up! You're ruining it. Why do mushrooms make bad Christians?
I don't know, Lyman. Why do mushrooms make bad Christians?
I'm glad you asked. Because they have loose morals.
Oh my God! See, that takes a little thought, though.
Yeah.
That takes a little.
I love you too.
Not everybody has the fucking moral. Oh Jesus!
You're welcome.
Okay. Yeah,
on the spot.
Thanks for that.
Well, yeah, you had to come up with
out.
something, so you did.
Right. Well, he should already just. We were supposed to be doing that anyway, but he keeps forgetting. But he needs to have a whole list.
I
ready.
basically need a personal assistant and a helmet. That's where I'm at.
A personal assistant? I don't even want to know. Honestly, you're scaring me a little.
Natalie, make sure I don't hurt myself accidentally and don't run into walls. And the helmet protects me if I do.
Sounds like you need some therapy. Is what it sounds like.
Yeah,
Sounds like you got some other issues going on there. Okay.
I need socialized healthcare to help me.
Yes,
get
that's
better.
what you need. That's right.
All right, Corey. Well,
thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks for coming on.
I'm glad you could come on to the new incarnation of the Triple Poe. Tell all your Canadian friends that aren't raging,
yeah,
hateful, bigoted rednecks. I remember one episode I did get a lot of play from Saskatchewan. Actually, I was really happy about that.
Yeah, we love our fellow rednecks here. So.
I wish I was there. Y'all are fucking.
We can talk about it. We can talk about it
Sanders
offline, but I got to hear about the Canadian redneck.
It's,
I got to hear about.
It's all rural up here. We're in Saskatchewan, so.
Well, let me go ahead and let you go. But why don't you go ahead and plug all your stuff there, Corey?
Sure. Yeah, you can find Brainstorm Podcast pretty much anywhere that you find other podcasts. Our website is brainstormblog.net or brainstormpodcast.ca.
Ooh,
yeah,
C-A.
That's right.
That stands for Canada.
Get that Canadian cred.
Mystery, intrigue.
Of course, if you had a VPN, you could act like you're in anyway. Whatever, who cares? All right. Well, thanks again, Corey. Did you ever come up with a fancy thing, Lyman? A sign out.
Me?
God damn it.
Nah, that ain't me.
Well,
get snipped. Don't have children. For the cause.
Okay.
Bye from Ansonia.
Okay. And from me,
Yeah.
until next time, comrades, y'all take it easy now, okay?